Hi, I am a homeschooling mom of three. My kids are 2, 5, and 9. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about how I've used morning time and how it's been helpful, and just give some tips I've learned along the way. Hopefully it'll help someone else. I know that a lot of people are new to homeschooling this year and are trying to figure it out. There's been an explosion of posts in like local homeschooling groups where there's a lot of people that are considering it or have just filled out their notice of intent to homeschool, and they're kind of trying to figure out a schedule or a plan for how their day should look. So morning time, some people call it together time or circle time. It's all the same thing, just a different name. Some people have creative names. I know we've always just called it morning time. But this is the first year that I've really fully implemented morning time and spent pretty much, most mornings we sit together. I usually sit together at the dining room table. That's where we do our school time. And some people choose to do it, sitting on the couch or on the living room floor. With a toddler underfoot, it's a little bit easier if we're sitting at the table, and sometimes she'll be sitting in her high chair and eating snacks, or I'll give her math manipulatives just to play with, putting cups and dump and things like that. But we start together each morning after breakfast. We start morning time together, and the time that we spend on it really varies a lot. I would say an hour and a half-ish maybe on average. I'm not going strictly by the time. I kind of keep an eye on it just because I like to start their individual subjects by a certain time so I know that we can finish by lunch. That's what works best for us. But when you sit together for morning time, you just think of subjects that you would like to do with all of your children present. And I'd say you have to take into consideration your own, each individual child. Like my 5-year-old does not want to miss anything that we're doing. So there's been times where I'll ask her if she wants to join us for something or not, and her answer is always yes. So I've gotten to the point I don't even ask her. I know she wants to always be there. And some 5-year-olds, it might not work for. They may not have the attention span to sit for a very long morning time and then sit down with you to work on phonics or things like that. So you have to definitely go child by child to make that choice of which age you decide you want that child to try and sit with you for morning time. But my 5-year-old and 9-year-old always do it together. So the nice thing about morning time is that you don't have to divide everything. Some things, obviously, you are going to teach, individual children. If you have children of more than one age, more than one grade and ability, you're going to obviously do different things for, their language arts or math or handwriting or, things like that. But there are a lot of subjects where you can combine. And you have to just think about what it is that's important to your family that you'd like to add. And morning time is one way. It's not the only way, but it's one way that a lot of families choose to teach various subjects that they want to teach to both their kids. And there's a book called Better Together by Pam Barnhill. And there's lots of great ideas in here. And she talks about, why morning time is, an important part to add to your day and things like that. There should be lots of things in morning time that you enjoy. So some of the things that families choose to do are like, well, I'll give you an example of some that we use. I have like a family devotional. I use 24 Family Ways by Sally Clarkson, where there's like 24 different like guidelines for how your family behaves based on the Bible, and you read different scriptures and you talk about it, and there's coloring books that you can buy. So that's one thing that we use. There's a book called Love Does for Kids by Bob Goff, and I've really enjoyed that one a lot. We're actually getting right to the end of it, and I'm sad to be ending it because we've all enjoyed that one a lot. Those are real short and sweet, so I like them because we can spend like 5 minutes, 10 minutes and on that particular book. And then some of the things take a little bit longer. I just recently started with, we're year-round schooling this year. And I just recently started The Good and the Beautiful's history, which I'm really liking so far. We're only a few lessons into it, but I do like that a lot. And we use The Good and the Beautiful science units. We're on the human body unit right now. So I put that in morning time. I should have brought my list up here and I didn't, of all the things that we squeeze into morning time. Sometimes I'll do a picture book, a biography, which is usually a picture book biography. What else have I? Oh, we're doing country study, and it's not like a very in-depth. It's because you know, I'm working with like 5 and 9 year olds, so the kindergartner's attention span is not going to be as long as if I had older kids. So the country study is usually fairly short. I'll pull up like a YouTube video. There's one called Are We There Yet? National Geographic does it. And it'll have 2 children, and they go to various countries. Like we're doing Egypt right now. So this morning they watched a video, and the 2 little girls went to see the pyramids and see mummies and just things like that. So they really enjoy that. So some of these things are like 5 or 10 minutes. Some of them are obviously longer. Science, you know, might be 30 minutes to an hour, depending on, you know, how much we're doing that day. If there's like a science experiment or, you know, making a model or, you know, something like that that takes longer, then it could take a little longer, I guess. But that sounds like a very long list, I know. But we don't do all of those things every day. So the way that I started doing it this year, and this has worked really well, and I got this is not my idea. I got this idea from Pam Barnhill, who wrote the Better Together book, and Sarah Mackenzie has also mentioned it. She's written a couple books, and I can't remember where I read that from her, but I know she's mentioned it. So the thing that I do that's worked really well is to make what's called a loop schedule. So for a loop schedule, you make a list of all your things that you want to get in morning time. And if you've never done morning time before, if you're new to homeschooling, or if you've got littles, if you've got kids that are all like, you know, 2nd grade and younger type, that age range especially, I would start with like 3 or 4 things maybe. No, don't try to, you know, don't do 20 because it's going to be too many if you're just starting to get the hang of it, or to get them used to the hang of it. So for a loop schedule, you make a list of all your things, and then you go down the list. So like on Monday, if my first thing says 24 family ways, then that's what I do first. And then after we finish 24 family ways, then we go to the next thing, and maybe it's read a picture book. And the next thing might be do an artist study or country study and that type of thing. And I just go down the list, and then I stop about where I want to stop. So I'm kind of watching the time, and if it's getting close to when I know that I want to start working, you know, one-on-one with the kids for language arts and math and things like that, and it's time for us to wrap it up, or if I can tell that I'm, you know, attention span wise that they're done, then I wrap it up. And then the next day when we start, I just go to that list, and if we stopped on the 3rd thing on the list, then I'm going to the 4th thing the next day. And you just do that each day of the week. And the reason that works better than in the past, when I'd tried to do like, okay, on Mondays we're going to do this, on Tuesdays we're going to do this. But the problem that happens there is you get to Monday and it's like the science took longer than you anticipated, because that's just life. and you didn't get to say you were going to do a biography that day, and you don't get to that, then you have to wait a whole week to get back to it. Whereas if you're doing a loop, then you don't get to something that day, then no big deal. You just do it the next day. So that way you're kind of rotating through everything at, you're getting to everything in a week. And you're not like pinned down to one day, if that makes sense, or like feel like you have to redo your whole schedule. I hope that makes sense. I hope I'm explaining that well. Some people hardcore probably stick to their loop. I'm pretty type B and flexible as far as like that kind of thing goes. So there's definitely times where I'm like, look at the little list of my loop and I'm like, oh, I think I'm going to save that part till tomorrow and switch these two or whatever. But it kind of gives me a good guideline, because I know that I can get to all of those things usually in a week, and some of the things you might get to twice in a week. Especially if you only put 3 or 4 things on there, then you might get through, So that's one thing that I've used that's really helpful, is the looping schedule. I really, really like that. Trying to think. Losing my train of thought. I know some people will do part of their morning time if you have a large family, or if you've got, pretty big age range. Sometimes people will do things like calendar, or, singing the days of the week, doing a calendar, doing shapes or colors, even if you've got really little ones. And sometimes they'll do a morning time where all the children are together for, 3 or 4 short things, and then they let the little kids go and the big kids stay for like history or science or something like that. I have not done that because, like I said, my 5-year-old wants to join in. If she was not interested, I would not force it at all. If she said, I don't really want to listen to this biography, can I go just play with my sister? Sure, go. I would not force it, at kindergarten age, but she really enjoys it. So she does stay with us, but I know some people will do that where they kind of do a split morning time where the little kids stay for a portion. They all do, maybe a devotional and calendar together, and then it's just big kids for like maybe science and history or something like that. But I really have enjoyed that, and I really love the Good and the Beautiful science. Their science units are awesome, even if you are using something else for like language and math, but you're trying to find something to fit into morning time, and you've got elementary age or middle school kids even, because they do have like extensions that are for middle school aged kids. Those are awesome for morning time. I like them for morning time. So that's one that I would look into if you're trying to think of what are some things that I could include. So that's just a way to kind of get some subjects in for multiple kids if you're trying to figure out sort of a schedule where you can get in some of those extras, but it not take, as much time. It can be as short or as long as you want. You could spend 30 minutes on morning time if you've got littles. If you've got older kids that, will sit for a while, an hour or two, then it can last that long. It's just, it's the beauty of homeschooling, is that you get to make it your own, and there's certainly no right or no wrong way to do it. So anyway, I hope some of those things were helpful, and I will be back soon to add some more ideas. I'm trying to think of ideas that might actually be helpful to people, especially people that are new to homeschooling and trying to figure it out. So if there's something specific that that you would like information, if you'd like me to do a video on, I'd be glad for the input. I've got a list of some ideas, so I'm trying to think of what might be helpful, or what would have been helpful to me when I first started. So anyway, thanks. Bye.